Hey, it's Corinne, your mental performance coach for everyday life. And welcome back to Everyday MVP. If you've ever reacted in a way you regretted and thought, why did I do that? Today's episode is for you. We're diving into one of my favorite skills, one that's helped so many of my clients, helped me personally, and honestly feels especially needed right now. That skill is called opposite action. Opposite action is a DBT skill. DBT stands for dialectical behavioral therapy. And when I first learned about this skill, I could immediately tell how powerful it was because of how practical and effective it can be in real life. So let's get into it. There are a few things that we tend to do automatically as humans when emotions come up. We try to control all the outcomes, we numb ourselves so we don't have to feel, or we expect the worst to protect ourselves from disappointment. The problem is, none of these actually work long term. You can't control every outcome. If you numb yourself, you're not feeling, which means you're stuck and not growing. And if you're always expecting the worst, it's really hard to enjoy anything. So here's the question I want you to start noticing. What is the first action you want to take when you feel anger, when you feel sadness, anxiety, fear, even happiness? What is the first action you want to take when you feel those emotions? Because sometimes the most helpful thing we can do is the opposite. Opposite action means choosing a behavior that goes against your emotional urge when that urge isn't helping you. And I'm going to say that again. Opposite action means choosing a behavior that goes against your emotional urge when that urge isn't helping you, it's not serving you. Our initial urge feels automatic, but they're not always effective. In fact, they can sometimes make our emotions even more intense. So before acting on an urge, I want you to ask yourself one simple question. Is this effective? And effective just means, does this move me toward my goal? The goal is to decrease emotional suffering and increase emotional resilience, which is our ability to recover from difficulties. If the answer is no, then it's time to consider opposite action. Now, this will take some trial and error. What's effective for one person may not be effective for another, and what works in one situation is not going to work in another, and that is okay. This is a skill you practice over time. Also, another helpful question that you can ask yourself is, what is one thing I could do right now that could make this better? I'm going to give you two real client examples. The first example is a basketball player I worked with. One week he came to me and said, I got angry and I punched a wall. So I asked, was it helpful to punch the wall? And he said, no. And I said, it's especially not helpful since you're a shooter and you need your hand. So I asked him, what would be the opposite of punching a wall when you're angry? He couldn't think of anything. So I suggested kissing the ball. He said, no way. So then I thought a little bit more and I said, okay, what about hugging the ball? He paused, thought about it, and said, okay, I think I could do that. The next week he came back and said, you're a genius. He told me that when he got mad in the next game he played, he took a moment to hug the ball. Instead of making him more angry, it helped him laugh at himself and get back into the game, focused on what he wanted to focus on, not what his anger wanted him to focus on. The second example is a client who had a fear of what people thought about how he played golf. Because of that fear, he avoided practicing or hitting in front of them. So, what was the opposite action? We went out and I had him hit balls in front of people. And I even had him hit poorly on purpose a few times in front of them so he could see what would actually happen. And after doing that just once, he realized he wasn't nearly as scared of what people thought as he believed. Both of these examples show the power of opposite action. Now, I do want to say this. Opposite action is hard. Changing your initial urge is hard because it's become a habit. It feels automatic. It feels permanent. You might be thinking right now, I can't change how I react. And I'm here to tell you, you can. You can change your brain. Like we talked about last week, neuroplasticity and the myelin sheath are on your side. And one of the best ways to support change is to write things down. Research shows that when we write something down, as far as the brain is concerned, it's almost as if we're rehearsing that behavior. Now, this is where the real change happens. So, here's your challenge for today. Think back to moments when you have felt a strong emotion and acted on an urge that wasn't effective. It did not serve you, it wasn't helpful. So, I want you to write down, take out a piece of paper or notes in your phone. If you're driving, wait till after. You're going to write down the emotion. Then you're going to write down the initial urge, that action that feels automatic. And then you're going to ask yourself, is this effective? Yes or no? If not, you're going to write down an opposite action you could try next time. Then, when that emotion comes up, try it out. Afterwards, I want you to reflect. Was it effective? Or do you need to adjust and try something different? And remember, this might take a few attempts. That's not failure. That's learning the skill. Which brings me to an important reminder I want to leave with you today. Opposite action isn't about ignoring your emotions or forcing positivity. It's about noticing your emotional urge and choosing a response that actually serves you. I need to say it again. Opposite action isn't about ignoring your emotions or forcing positivity. It's about noticing your emotional urge and choosing a response that actually serves you. You can't always control what happens, and you can't always control what you feel, but you can control what you do next. And that choice, repeated over time, is what builds emotional resilience. Awareness comes first, acceptance comes next, and then intentional action. So the next time an emotion shows up, pause and ask yourself, is this effective? And if it's not, be brave enough to try something different. And to help you practice this, I actually created a worksheet for this episode that walks you through the skill of opposite action. If you'd like a copy, you can send me an email at corinwalston@gmail.com and I will send it right over. Thanks so much again for tuning in today, Mind Late Team. Remember, your most valuable player is you. Every day is a new day. Breathe in, breathe out. You've got this.